Alzheimer's disease is one of the most devastating challenges of our time. It's a condition that just slowly unravels the very fabric of a person. For decades, we've been searching for effective treatments, but honestly, the path has been incredibly tough. So what if the key wasn't some new synthetic drug, but a compound from an ancient plant that could actually help the brain heal itself? That's the fascinating and really promising path we're going down today. And this quote from Dr. Ken Weinberg, a physician who works right in the thick of it with dementia patients, it just puts the human cost in such stark perspective. This isn't just about forgetting where you put your keys. It's about the loss of self, the erosion of a whole lifetime of experiences and relationships. It is a profound, profound challenge for patients and their families. So instead of just playing defense and managing the fallout, what if we could get to the core of the problem? What if we could actually help the brain retune its own internal systems? That right there, that's the tantalizing possibility we are digging into. Okay, before we get to the potential solutions, we really have to understand the immediate problem. Because beyond the memory loss that we all associate with Alzheimer's, there is a severe crisis of behavioral and psychological symptoms that makes daily life just unbelievably difficult. These are known as neuropsychiatric symptoms, or NPS. And a 2024 study by Dr. Christian Navarro really highlights how disruptive they are. We're talking about severe agitation and aggression, deep anxiety, delusions. These are behaviors that are incredibly distressing for both the patient and, of course, their caregiver. This is so often the breaking point for families. So how do we treat these symptoms right now? Well, often it's with powerful antipsychotics. But as both Dr. Weinberg and the Navarro study point out, these drugs come with black box warnings. I mean, that's the FDA's most serious warning possible. We're talking a high risk of stroke, heart failure, and even death in elderly patients. So the very tool we're using to help can be incredibly dangerous. And that has driven an absolutely urgent search for a safer alternative. And that search is leading researchers to a very old and, let's face it, a very well-known plant. For thousands of years, across all kinds of civilizations, cannabis has been used medicinally. And now, modern science is taking a serious new look, pulling it out of the shadows and into the laboratory. So why can cannabis have such a profound effect? Well, it's because our bodies already have a built-in network ready to communicate with it, the endocannabinoid system. Dr. Weinberg calls it the master system because it helps regulate pretty much everything, from our mood to our immune response. So compounds in cannabis, like CBD, they can plug right into the system that's already there. Our brains are already built to speak their language. Okay, so the theory makes a ton of sense. But here's the million-dollar question. Does it actually work in real people who are dealing with Alzheimer's every single day? For that, we've got to turn to the clinical evidence from a really crucial 2024 study. So here's the setup. Doctors Navarro and Perez ran a study with 59 Alzheimer's patients, all of them suffering from those severe symptoms we just talked about. They were given a daily low dose of CBD-rich oil. The goal was pretty simple: see if it could safely reduce their symptoms, especially where other drugs were just way too risky. And the result was, well, frankly, it was astonishing. Almost 95% of patients saw a significant reduction in how severe their symptoms were. Let that sink in. That's 56 out of 59 people who got real, tangible relief from all that agitation, anxiety, and distress. And the benefits just created this powerful ripple effect. It wasn't just the patients who felt the relief. Over 86% of their caregivers, their family members, reported a major reduction in their own distress. And that's a critical point, right? When a patient's symptoms get better, that immense burden on their family gets lifted too. And crucially, this wasn't some temporary fix. These improvements held up for up to 2 full years. And the safety? Remember those black box warnings for the other drugs? In this study, only a single patient reported a mild, temporary side effect that went away completely. The contrast is just night and day. Okay, so the results in people are powerful, but they lead to an even deeper question. The what is clear, it works. But the how, that's the key to unlocking the future of treatment. What is actually going on inside the brain? Answering this question is what takes us from just a promising observation to a potential scientific breakthrough. And to find that answer, we need to look at the underlying biology, which was recently revealed in a mouse model of Alzheimer's. So first, we need to meet a key chemical player here, acetylcholine, or ACH. Just think of it as the brain's main memory messenger. It's absolutely essential for learning and for cognition. And one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's is a severe lack of this exact neurotransmitter. So, a 2024 study from Khudati and their colleagues basically uncovered the step-by-step pathway. They found that when they gave CBD to mice with Alzheimer's, it directly boosted the production of that key memory messenger, acetylcholine. And that kicked off this healing cascade, rebalancing the brain's immune system, which then improved cognition and even reduced those infamous amyloid plaques. Now, what's so cool is the immune connection they discovered. The brain has its own special immune cells called ILC2s. You can think of them like the brain's gardeners. Their job is to clean up debris and keep the environment healthy. In Alzheimer's, these gardeners get all thrown out of balance. Well, the study found that CBD helps restore that balance. And here's the kicker. Once these gardener cells are back in business, they themselves start producing more acetylcholine. It's this beautiful, self-reinforcing cycle. So let's connect all these pieces, right? We have compelling human results, and we have a deep scientific mechanism. And together, they don't just point to a new drug, they point to an entirely new way of thinking about how to treat this disease. When you lay it all out, you see this really beautiful story of scientific discovery. It started with a hypothesis, the idea that cannabis could interact with the brain's chemistry. That hypothesis was then confirmed in the real world by the Navarro study, proving it was safe and effective in people. And then finally, the Codadaddy study gave us the elegant mechanism, explaining why it works on a cellular level. And this right here is the essential takeaway. The mouse study isn't just some abstract finding. It provides the direct, biological why behind the life-changing results that the Navarro study saw in human patients. The science and the human experience are telling the exact same story. This all points to an entirely new paradigm, an immune cholinergic approach. It's a strategy that doesn't just paper over the symptoms. Instead, it aims to restore the brain's own natural balance, using its own immune and chemical systems to heal itself. It is a fundamental shift in strategy. Which leaves us with this final, powerful question. We've spent decades trying to fight Alzheimer's from the outside in. This research suggests a future where we might be able to help the brain fight from the inside out. Could retuning the brain's own fundamental systems be the breakthrough we've all been waiting for? It's a future that suddenly feels much, much closer than we might have thought.